Hello, Aquarius love. It's Kat here from Selfunity. Welcome into your divine new moon solar eclipse reading. I am so grateful and honored to be here with you today, love. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me. Before we get started with your reading today, I do want to share with you all that this is part 2 of a 3-part series that I am creating for each of the astrology signs for this eclipse season. So in part 1, we received messages of guidance that were in connection to what it is that you were releasing and transmuting with the full moon lunar eclipse that took place in the sign of Pisces on Sunday, September 7th. So if you missed your signs reading for part 1, I will have a link to that video, that reading, in the description box below. You can also go onto my channel, Selfunity, and find your signs reading. Now, today in part 2, we will be receiving messages of guidance that are in connection to the new moon solar eclipse, which is happening in the sign of Virgo, and this is taking place on Sunday, September 21st. And for part 3, which I will be sharing in a couple weeks, we will be receiving messages of guidance that offer you a deeper insight into all that you will be integrating in connection to the lessons and experiences that you are working through during the bulk of this eclipse season. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, Selfunity, so you can catch all 3 parts to your signs reading. But let's go ahead and get into your reading today, love. So for today's reading, we are working with the Spellcasting Oracle cards, and I'm just going to pull one card from this deck today so we can see what your theme is. Okay, so what theme are you initiating with this new moon solar eclipse? Okay, what are you inviting into your life? So while I'm shuffling, if you feel called to, you can set an intention. You know, if there's a situation that you've been working through that you would like to receive deeper insight on, or you have any questions you would like to receive guidance or answers to, go ahead and take a moment to ask those questions and set those intentions now, and trust that you will receive the answer exactly when you're meant to. You're the first sign I'm feeling called to pull 2 theme cards for. All right, Aquarius, so we've got 2 for you. And before we unveil your theme cards, we're going to also pull your tarot cards from the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. And this deck may look a little familiar because I did use this deck in the full moon readings for each of the signs as well. And I do apologize, Aquarius. I have a little bit of allergies coming in today, so I may be kind of catching my breath a bit. But it's not too bad, so it shouldn't really affect my communication too much. All right, so let's see. What does Aquarius need to know from the tarot? I'm going to take those 2, and then we'll get one more for Aquarius. There we go. Okay, so first we are going to unveil your 2 theme cards. So let's see what your theme is. Okay, so you have forgiveness and you have happiness. Forgiveness and happiness. Okay, Aquarius. So what I'm getting with these 2 cards here is you are working through this energy of forgiveness, and it's like you're finally giving yourself permission to forgive yourself, forgive the situation, forgive others, and you're really coming into this deeper understanding and this place of deeper acceptance with yourself, with your path, and with others, okay? But I'm seeing that it starts with you. And so you may have been recently doing a lot of reflection on your past life, like your past choices, like the choices you made for yourself, and also in relation to like situations that you put yourself in, or that maybe it felt like others had put you in. And it's situations that require this energy of forgiveness. So you may have been holding on to pain or like this energy of like a burden towards those past experiences and connections. And you're finally allowing yourself to forgive yourself for having been put in those situations, in those places, in those experiences. And you're also allowing yourself to release and fully let go of any attachments that you have to those situations, experiences, and relationships, where you're looking at it from a space of needing that sense of forgiveness. Okay, so let's see if Spirit will give me an example here. So really, they're bringing my focus to like relationships. So say you were in a really not a good relationship. You were in a very toxic relationship, okay, but there was still moments of love, and so maybe you stayed a little longer. There were moments of joy, so maybe you stayed a little longer than you had felt called to or really wanted to, like you just kept going back, but you knew it wasn't the best relationship for you, and then you distance yourself from that relationship. You were able to break away from it, but you were still holding on to the pain and the heartache that was created when you chose to stay in that relationship and be in that connection. And you've carried that pain with you for some time, and now you're finally coming to a space of deeper understanding as to why you had to go through that situation and experience with that person and in that relationship. And you're able to bring this sense of forgiveness, this sense of peace to how you're viewing that past situation in your life, okay? There's also this message coming through around recognizing that what's the message that was coming through around that? Recognizing that it's about other people. I'm seeing this dynamic where you're realizing that you cannot change other people, like they are who they are, and so you're sort of working through this energy of coming into the acceptance of who they are, which is you're naturally having these realizations because you're coming into the realization of like who you are on a core level, and you're allowing yourself to just embody this energy of joy, happiness, and fulfillment for yourself, which is really removing your focus on where there may be lack in these other individuals' lives. So maybe before you were really focused on trying to fix or change other people's ways of doing things, ways of seeing things, ways of seeing yourself, and you're no longer really involved in that or caring about how they're seeing you or what they're doing, because you're understanding that that's their life and that's their choices to make. And so you're coming into this space of forgiving them for what they've done to you, what they've put you through, what they've said to you, how they've shown you that they're seeing you as, and you're just allowing yourself to detach from those negative beliefs, those false beliefs about yourself and about them, and you're just bringing the focus back to yourself and trying to instill this energy of joy, peace, happiness, and fulfillment in your life. Once again, you're no longer attaching to past perspectives. You're no longer attaching to false perspectives of judgment that are not really true about you or about others. Okay, but let's go ahead and get a little deeper. This message is very deep, pure Aquarius, so thank you for hanging on with me. Let's see what else comes through with your tarot. We have 14 Temperance. Let go of self-imposed limitations. Yeah, this is the energy that you're working through. You're trying to bring balance back into your life, and you're going to be able to do that by bringing that focus back to yourself and really giving yourself what it is that you need, and removing the focus from the pains of the past, removing the focus from other people that are in your life, and just choosing to focus on yourself and asking yourself what it is that you need in this moment and how can you provide that to yourself. Okay, we also have Ace of Wands. Don't you see how your passion makes you glow? Yeah, so this is representing a new beginning, taking physical action steps to I'm seeing that you're taking these physical action steps to instill a sense of security, joy, and fulfillment in your life moving forward. Okay, but let's go a little deeper. Let's see what your other cards are. We have 12, the Patient Witch. Learn to get comfortable with sitting still whenever necessary. Okay. All right, that's the Hanged Man there. And then we have 6, the Lovers. Will you or won't you? The choice is yours. Yeah, this is definitely in connection to relationships, other people in your life. And Aquarius, you have 3 major arcana. So this is a really, really big, powerful, transformative time in your life. This new moon solar eclipse in Virgo is a very transformative time in your life, and it is bringing a lot to the surface right now, okay? And it's bringing a lot to the surface in the sense of, where have you been giving your power away to? Pains of the past, to relationships that are present in your life now? Where have you been letting others make the decisions for you? And where have you been just agreeing with people for the sake of agreeing? Where have you been putting yourself last? Where have you been putting others first? And how can you bring transformation to those questions, to that energy? How can you start to put yourself first, put your needs first, mental, emotional, and physical? You are the most important person in your life, Aquarius, and you are no longer existing in spaces of the past. You're existing in this present moment right now, just as you are. And you get to decide who you are in this present moment right now, just as you are. And you get to decide who and what you're going to be moving forward in that energy. It's not about what others have said about you. It's not about what others still say about you. It's not about what choices others make for you. It's about the choices you make for yourself, what you tell yourself about yourself, and what it is that you want to do in your life right now in this present moment and moving forward. Okay. Now, Aquarius, this is a process, okay? You are in a deep healing portal right now of coming into a lot of revelations and realizations about yourself. And so you do have the Patient Witch here. This is also the Hanged Man, which is about shifting your perspective, seeing things from a different lens. And so what I'm getting with this card here is that, especially next to the Lovers, is that you are, again, you're in this process, this deep healing portal around shifting your views around how you see yourself. And while you're going through that process, while you're working through this transformation of allowing yourself, to forgive others, to forgive the past situations, and come into the present with complete trust, joy, fulfillment, and peace, you're going to have to make different choices, and you're going to have to show up differently than you've been showing up. And when you start to do that, it can really kind of test the waters in your present relationships, okay? And so what Spirit's coming in and saying is that you have been allowing yourself to operate in the spaces that you're in, your physical environment and your physical connections, your relationships. You've been allowing yourself to operate in these spaces in a way where you are sort of giving your power away. You're letting them make the choices for you. You're letting them make the choices for the relationship. You're allowing them to cross boundaries that maybe you were never able to set. And so when you start allowing yourself to fully embody the truth of who you are and bring balance back to yourself and start pursuing these new paths of possibility and potential that are deeply calling you in, deeply going to bring you this energy of fulfillment and joy and peace and happiness, it's going to test your relationships. And it's okay. Okay? This is where you're going to learn who is really there for you and who is just using you. Okay? And so go slow. You have to be patient with this process. Okay, that's what's coming up. You have to be patient with this process, Aquarius, because you are finally allowing yourself to embody the depth of your true power, your true capabilities. And again, it's going to test those relationships that you haven't been setting clear boundaries around, where you've been allowing them to make the decisions, you've been allowing them to make the choices. And some of them may not fully understand where this shift in your energy is coming from. And so we have the Patient Witch here asking you to be patient with this process and give patience to those relationships that are very important in your life, okay? Because there are relationships in your life that are going to be able to withstand these changes and the transformation that you're working through right now. But as you go about this process, Aquarius, make sure that you are always coming back to yourself and standing in the root, in the truth of your power. Even if they push back a little, even if they don't understand, even if there are some quarrels that go on as you're working through this process, it's because you're trying to find your balance within yourself once again, which is naturally going to test the balance of your relationships in your life as well. And so it's just a learning process. And then for some of you, Aquarius, you may decide that these relationships have served their time in teaching you where it is that you've been giving your power away and teaching you how to call your power back within yourself. And so some relationships may fall away, but those that are really important to you, those that are really rooted in the energy and essence of true divine love, will withstand all these changes and transformations that you are working through, that you are shifting through, okay? But there are truths that are going to be revealed as you work through this process about yourself and about your relationships, and just where you've been giving your power away versus where you may need to set clear or stronger boundaries, and where you need to continually enforce those boundaries as well, okay, Aquarius? I know this is a heavy reading, so just take a moment to allow yourself to process these messages. Give yourself a little love as you take in these messages of guidance that are coming through with this new moon solar eclipse today for you, Aquarius. Okay, do something for yourself. Do something that brings you joy, that brings you happiness, that brings you love. Do something for yourself today. All right, Aquarius, coming through with... Oh, I thought there was 3. There's only 2. Okay, thought you had another extra card. Let's see what your oracle cards are. So these are from the Seasons of the Witch, not Mabon. This is Litha Oracle. Okay, so you have Hanging Baskets, number 13. Lean into the essence of receiving, for there await the things you've been telling yourself are out of reach. Yes, you're about to receive some magic. You're about to receive blessings and gifts that you have been deeply desiring and that you are deeply deserving of. And all these things are coming into alignment because you're finally allowing yourself to really be honest with yourself about who you are and what it is that you want. You're no longer allowing other people to make choices and decisions for you. You're no longer allowing them to implicate their judgments and opinions about who they think you are onto you. And you're not embodying that anymore. You're finally stepping into the light of the truth of who you are, what you're passionate about, what brings you joy, what brings you fulfillment, what brings you love. And you're allowing yourself to walk that path wholeheartedly with complete confidence. And it's restoring the balance of all things in your immediate universe, in your world, which is going to naturally allow you to receive the bounty and the blessings that you have been praying for, that you've been hoping for on all levels, within your relationships, within your physical needs, your emotional needs, your mental health practices, your physical needs. It's going to restore the balance in all areas of your life in a very beautiful and magical way, because you're finally saying yes to yourself. Okay, we also have Sunbathing 36. The dance of stillness is calling for you to live in its embrace. Yes, and Aquarius, I'm seeing here with the sunbathing that there's not a lot that you have to do in order to work through this energy. You're already doing it just like in the subtle day-to-day choices that you're making. Okay, so just by speaking your truth about what it is that you want, that's really like all you have to do in this situation, is just say yes when you mean yes and saying no when you mean no. And then you get to just be still and wait for the universe to respond. Wait for the universe to bring you what you've said yes to. Wait for the universe to take away what you've said no to. So there's not a lot that you have to do physically. The path of physicality will open up to you very naturally because you have this very magnetic energy, Aquarius. When you're living in the truth of your power and you're saying yes when you mean to say yes and you're saying no when you mean to say no, and you have very clear, concise boundaries and you're confident about asserting and implementing those boundaries, the universe responds accordingly. Your relationships are going to become a reflection of your inner truth because you're finally expressing it openly and honestly. And that allows for the things you desire to experience and receive to flow in naturally. And so really all you have to do is declare what you need and then wait for it to come in. Okay, that's why we have the patient witch right here. Very prominent theme in your reading is patience. Okay, just allowing yourself to process and releasing, what you're forgiving yourself for, and then just choosing things that light you up, choosing experiences that light you up, choosing relationships that light you up, and the path will naturally unfold and awaken for you. All right, love, let's go ahead and pull your last card now. So I felt really called to use this deck here. This is the Druid Plant Oracle. And I felt called to use this deck for the new moon readings today because new moons are all about setting new intentions and planting seeds. So we're going to see what type of plant seed you are guided to plant and nourish with this new moon. So let's see, what is Aquarius's plant? Okay. Oh, we have nettles. Nettles are very healing, very medicinal plants. They also have a sting to them, okay? And so with this energy here again, Aquarius, there may be some moments as you're working through this energy where you have to be a little bit more assertive than you've been in the past because you're really voicing the depths of your truth. You're asserting your truth, and this is making changes in how others perceive you and how you show up in your environments. So you have to be a little bit forceful with what it is that you want. There will be moments where you have to be a little forceful, okay? Because again, those other relationships in your life where you haven't been allowing yourself to really voice what it is that you want, where you haven't been allowing yourself to express the truth of who you are, they are going to have a little pushback, okay, because they're not used to it. And so you're going to have to push back a little bit, get in that stinging nettle loving medicine and letting them know, no, this is who I am today. This is who I've always been. This is who I'm going to be moving forward. And you're going to respect this, love this, or you're not. You're going to move along, okay? So there is going to be a little bit of that test and needing to really assert and enforce your boundaries, enforce the truth of who you are and what it is that you want, okay? But let's go ahead and read a little bit from the book about nettles. I'm also getting transformation with that butterfly on there. This is about transformation, and the snake as well, shedding past energies, coming into a new skin. Okay, so here we have nettles. Irritation, hidden gifts, transmutation. Reversed, it's fear, irritability, and adventure. So nettles present a harsh exterior that conceals incredible goodness. This card may reflect a situation or person with similar characteristics. It's easy to dismiss prickly people as irritable, but this defense may conceal their true gifts. If you try not to take their irritation personally and seek to communicate more deeply with them, you may be surprised by what they have to offer. Likewise, with a tricky situation, you need to work out whether this is telling you to back away or persevere. To grasp the nettle and put up with any initial discomfort in order to benefit later, Nettles teaches us that appearances can be deceptive and that first impressions can be wrong. In the old days, alchemists sought to transmute lead into gold. Nettles teach us the secret of transmutation, whereby an experience that is initially uncomfortable transforms into something treasured and valuable. Oh, so many goodies in that explanation there, Aquarius, where you are going through a deep transformation process. I feel like that explanation was very confirming to what we shared about in your reading today, but I'm also really drawn to how it was talking about that energy of needing to sting a little, okay? And things may not always appear as they are. You know, when you find the nettle plant, it's very beautiful. It looks very friendly. And this is kind of the energy that you've been in, where you've just been like sitting there all pretty, saying, yes, 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 I'll do that, I'll do that. Even if you don't really want to do that. And, you know, it's really just like that energy of like sitting pretty and just saying yes, just playing the nice person, the nice girl, the nice boy, the good boy, the nice girl, and just sitting there taking it as it comes, and never really asking yourself what it is that you really believe or think or want to do when these individuals come to you and ask you about these things or tell you to do these things. And so now you're getting your wits about you, and you're finally deciding for yourself that you're going to respond in the ways that you've always felt called to respond. You were just too quote unquote nice to respond in that way. And so now you're finally opening up and speaking your truth. And at first, people may say, like it said in the book, where you're like a little irritable, or oh, you're just angry, or oh, you're having a bad day. But no, you're finally realizing the truth of what it is you want and what you deserve, okay? And you deserve to be met with somebody who's going to listen to what your needs are. They're going to listen to the truth of who you are, and they're going to believe in you, and they're going to want to cherish your needs and your desires just as much as they would want to cherish their own, okay? So again, there's going to be that little pushback as you work through this journey from those relationships in your life where you've been allowing them to push the boundaries. But Aquarius, you have got this. You're on the journey to taking your power back. And once you get a taste of that beautiful, loving medicine, that joy, that fulfillment, you're not going to want to let it go ever again, and you won't, okay? But just be patient with this process, especially when it comes to your loved ones and your immediate relationships in your life. But also know that through this process, you will be receiving all that you have desired in the process of you coming to this point of deep understanding and revelation. So Aquarius, that is it for your reading today. Take care as you take in and process these messages. This was one of the heavier readings that I've done for this new moon solar eclipse. So really take care as you take in and process the messages that came through in your reading today. And you know, Aquarius, if something didn't resonate with you, just remember this is a public reading. So just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And just know that I'm sending you so much love as you work through this energy. And if you need a little extra support, you can comment down below, and I can give you a little extra support in the comments. And then I do also do personal readings. If you'd like to go a little deeper, just send me a DM on Instagram at selfunity, and we can set up a personal reading for you to get you a little bit deeper, more specific guidance on how you can best navigate through this energy. Okay, love. And I didn't share all that in all the readings. I just know that this was heavy energy that you're working through here, and I would love to be of support to you on this journey. Okay, you're not alone in this. And I'm also just really excited for you, Aquarius, because coming into your power after going through that long process that you went through, it's going to be very rewarding for you. And I'm just excited to see you embody the depth of your true potential and power. So thank you for letting me read for you once again. I'm wishing you a beautiful new moon solar eclipse. Until next time, bye, loves.